Good evening and welcome to the Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board. My name is Roberta Mayer. I'm the chair of the board and I represent the Subdistrict 5. And I'm going to ask the board members to introduce themselves, starting from my far right, please, Herb.
Good evening, everybody. Herb Schreiner, Subdistrict 6, which is Kamilawiiki Valley.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paula Bender, and I am with Sub-District 9, which is east of Lunalilo Home Road from Kalanianaʻoli Highway to the border of the high school, but containing the street behind it.
Robbie Allen, Sub-District 2, Kuapa Isle, Spinnaker Isle.
Elijah Lee, Sub-District 5.
I'm Greg Knudsen, Hawaiʻi at large.
This is Anson Wu from the Neighborhood Commission Office. He is the neighborhood assistant who assists us in conducting our meetings.
Aloha, everyone. Samuel Wolf, Subdistrict 4, the Hahaione Valley Condo Towers.
Good evening, everyone. Paige Alton, Subdistrict 11, Portlock Road and Maunalua Triangle, Kokokai.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Bishop at large.
We are expecting 2 or 3 additional members to join us very shortly. We are a 15-member board, but at this moment we have 12 seats that are currently filled. We are looking for 3 volunteers from the community who would like to join us on the neighborhood board. So if you are interested, we would love to have you apply to join us as a volunteer. Moving on with our agenda, we have status reports from our service providers. And first on our agenda is the Honolulu Fire Department. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Mayor. Good evening. Captain Waipo Parker with the Hawaiʻi Fire Station, providing our statistics for February 2026. And to address a previous question from the last meeting on the location of the 5 mountain rescues, was at the Coco Head Trail. For the statistics for February 2026, we had 0 structure fires, 0 brush fires, 1 nuisance fire, 2 cooking, and 6 activated alarms with no fire. For emergencies, we had 86 medical emergencies, 0 motor vehicle collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, and 0 hazmat incidents. The fire safety tip and announcement for the month is smoke alarms. Smoke alarms save lives and are an important part of a home fire escape plan. Properly installed and maintained smoke alarms give occupants early warning to get outside quickly. Smoke alarms should be installed in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area like a hallway, and on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button. Replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. And that concludes our report.
Could I have your name again, please?
Waipo Parker. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yes.
should know that by now. Any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department?
Yes.
Yes, Paige?
Hi, Captain. I don't
Hi.
have any questions. I just wanted to say, excuse me, with our recent bout of rain and water inundation and everything that we had, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys because I saw you guys all out there day and night. I saw the trucks out attending to people and helping and going to the houses. And I just want to say thank you because I think our fire department, Hawaiʻi, is the best. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think we all echo that. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
right. No questions.
Okay, great. Have a great evening.
Thank you. And I'd like to also introduce Johanna Ward, another board member, and online Elizabeth Riley. So we are 11 of our 12 are present at the moment. Honolulu Police Department. I believe there's someone online. Yes. Hello, Lieutenant.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Lieutenant Mira from the Honolulu Police Department. First, going to go over the statistics for last month. Motor vehicle thefts, we're at 2, burglaries at 1, thefts 6, unauthorized entry to motor vehicle at 1. Total calls for service 5,229. Going over the tips, so we've all seen the recent disasters that have affected the whole state. So, just in general, disaster preparedness safety tips. Things to consider: hurricane season is going to start up in a couple of months in June, which will run through November. Tsunamis, always a potential threat for us. We've seen a lot of recent earthquake activity in the Pacific Rim. But just as reminders for everybody to be prepared for anything. And some of these reminders are just making an emergency plan and no escape routes and meeting places. Check condition of emergency equipment such as flashlights, battery-powered radios, generators. Check and replenish first aid supplies. Keep all tree and shrub limbs trimmed so they didn't come in contact with any wires on your house and cause damage. Individuals with special needs should plan ahead for appropriate medical conditions. And of course, the aftermath is review your insurance policy to ensure it provides adequate coverage. Okay, and that's all I have for that.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Are there questions for the Honolulu Police Department? Yes, Paige?
Lieutenant, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys too, during the recent situation we've had with all the weather and everything. You guys were also out and about, and just thank you for your presence. It really, I think, not only helped me and my constituents, but I noticed that it did help everybody else. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for saying thank you. It's a group effort by everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant. No further questions. Next, we have the Board of Water Supply, Iris Oda.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I give the general announcements, or usually I give a main break report, and there was none for February. But the general announcement is from April 12th to the 18th, we have Detect a Leak Week. So we partnered with the City Mill to observe this Detect a Leak Week, like I mentioned, from April 12th to the 18th. So this observance, we're encouraging residents to find and fix leaks that waste water and increase your utility bill. So the most common household leak is your toilet, running toilet caused by a worn, faulty flapper, which is at mine, which I have to fix. So to help raise awareness, join us at the following 2 outreach events. There's April 11th, noon to 2 at the Town Center in Mililani. But if you're on April 18th, from 11 to 1, there's one at Kahala Mall. So that's a little closer. So free toilet leak detection dye tablets will be available at both outreach events. And it's also at our lobby at Beretania, 630 Beretania Street, and at all City Mill locations and satellite city halls. So for more information, go to boardofwatersupply.com/DALW, Detect a Leak Week. And I passed out, I believe, to everyone, the smaller version of this. So have this and share it with friends. If you want to grab more, I have at the table. Thank you. Oh, I had a follow-ups from last month. Had questions the other month. So remember Herb, he mentioned and asked about some jolting, some uneven roads at 3 locations. And 2 of them are not Board of Water jobs, for sure, is the opposite of 444 Lunalilo Home Road, and another one at Lunalilo Home Road and Wailua Street by the post office. So those 2 were not Board of Water jobs, and you would want to contact Department of Facility Maintenance, Road Division. The third one, I was talking to him earlier, is at the 1093 Wainiha Street. So our last main break was in that area in 2023, and that final paving was done in April of that year. But I guess the current conditions that are affecting it, we'd still probably contact the Department of Facility Maintenance Road Division, but also let our staff know about that it was probably not the best condition after repaving anyway. So I'll follow up on that third one. Okay, and that's it.
Thank you, Iris. Are there questions for the Board of Water Supply? No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaiser Complex Schools, welcome, Mr. Gu.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having me and allowing me to give you an update on Kaiser Complex of Schools. Well, for the DOE, it's been a very challenging few weeks, with a lot of storm damage and things like that. But as always, our Kaiser Complex students and staff and families responded with compassion. In fact, one of our Kaiser students, Ariana Cinsano, coordinated a complex-wide drive for supplies for flood victims. On top of that, the same student, she has coordinated service projects for the whole complex for all 6 schools. I'd like to just mention on April 11th is our Aloha in Action Day. And so all schools will be participating in a day of service so that we can give back to this beautiful island we call home. As part of that, we will be, for Hawaiʻi, we're going to be helping out at one of the farms in Waimanalo. Also, Earth Fest is coming, April 17th. Save the date. It's coming back to Kaiser campus. Join us on the Great Lawn for an evening of fun. We'll be hosting vendors, food trucks, educators, and craft booths. Keep your eyes on this post as we'll be keeping you updated on these exciting festivities. New Valley Middle School, actually for all schools, every Kaiser Complex school is providing some sort of summer learning hub. And this is free of charge to the families and the students. And we don't have to do it, but we want to do it. So we're keeping everybody sharp over the summer and coming back just ready, hitting the ground running, ready to go for the coming school year. One of the big pushes in our complex is career exploration. And so at every school, you'll see career fairs, guest speakers, and also projects that interact with industry professionals. And so we love to share that, and just know that you are part of our schools. And so if you have something to share, we want to partner with you, bring you in. Finally, every elementary school does an exhibition night. That's when their 5th graders do a compassion project in a small group, and they find a problem in the community that they want to help, and they try to go big and try to go global with their impact on that. So they will research a little bit, but then they will find some kind of community action that they can do, and then they will implement that, whether it be a food drive or some kind of clinic to help, things like sports injury or help the homeless. And so for Hawaiʻi, that night is coming up on the 16th of April, and it's called a public display of work. And so it's a really authentic assessment. So it's not just for the grades. We get away from grades. We don't even grade it. It's more about them having the compassion in their hearts and being intrinsically motivated to do this for the community. And so we display it in the public. It's going to be right here in this cafeteria. So the public's welcome. You're welcome to come check out all of the booths. We'll have 28 different booths for you to check out. And students are poised, done the research, and they'll be able to talk in depth about their project. So we invite you to become part of our learning journey. And you can find this type of experience at every one of our elementary schools. Last one is our fun fair. We're going to have it right here on Saturday, April 18th. And everybody's welcome to come and enjoy games, rides, and some food booths. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Gu. Are there any questions for Mr. Gu? All right, thank you very much for coming in. Oh, yes, Paige.
Hi, Kathy. How
Hi.
are you?
Hi,
Nice to
good-
see you.
Good to see you.
Couple questions. For the Earth Fest, you mean the Great Lawn at Kaiser, right? Not the Great Lawn?
I have to double check on that, but I believe it's on the Kaiser's Great Lawn.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Just
Yep.
confirming that. And then the other thing is for the career exploration thing, has anybody ever mentioned to you, or have you guys thought about doing maybe a mentoring program? There's so many graduates from Kaiser that have gone on to do some really amazing jobs and careers and work and philanthropic stuff and everything. And I was wondering if the schools have ever thought of any kind of a mentoring thing where like a graduate will work with a student or a couple of students to mentor them through
No.
that type of career move, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Typically, it happens organically when we
Yeah.
see a former graduate and we say, hey, come back and,
Yeah.
and talk to us. But yeah, something coordinated would be nice.
Yeah, I just know because my high school is doing that. I mean, I'm a Kaiser grad, but I went to Hawaiʻi School for Girls, and that's what we've started doing is getting graduates to and alumni to come back and work with a student who's involved or wants to be involved or know more about that industry or career. So it's just something I'm throwing out.
No,
there.
that sounds terrific. In fact, for us selfishly, I'd love to see former students come back and give back, but also see what they're up to and what they're doing and seeing all their successes. So yeah, that's a great. Most recently, we've been working with an organization called Hawaii Workforce Pipeline. And so they've been gathering up, industry professionals. They come here, do a career fair for our fifth graders. And that's one way we do career exploration. And so you'll see that type of activity at all the schools. But yeah, definitely would love to have a kind of a network of our alum. Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. Gu. Oh, we have a question from the audience. Excuse me, you have to go to the mic because the people online cannot hear you.
Not pointing fingers, but Joseph Gideon is sitting back there and he would love to help your students because he was a student at Kaiser. He graduated from Kaiser and I was on the PTA for years and years and years at Kaiser.
Yeah, I think he might be one of the mentors to come back and share with us. Yeah. In fact, he has strong ties to Hawaiʻi Elementary School. So yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. Gu. We also have a student representative from Kaiser High School who is here that would like to share some of their activities. So welcome.
Hello, my name is Eloise Harrison Jones. I'm a sophomore at Kaiser High School, and I'm the president of Kaiser's Wipeout Crew. Our club has been active in promoting sustainability through stewardship, outreach, activism, and education in our community for the past 12 years. Over the years, we've collected over 19,000 pounds of marine trash from the beaches of Oahu, started and tended to a peace and sustainability garden at our school, created and facilitated educational workshops for our feeder schools, and continue to partner with numerous other organizations, including but not limited to Mauna Lua Fish Pond Heritage Center, Huli, and Aloha Tree Alliance. Together with these organizations, our crew members have helped to plant thousands of native Hawaiian plants. The reason why I'm here tonight is to share an event we've been holding since 2014, Earth Fest, which you've heard a little bit about so far. What Earth Fest is a celebration of Earth Day, which is celebrated by over 1 billion people around the world every year. Earth Fest is our contribution in honor of this important cause, dedicated to promoting sustainability and conservation throughout our community and throughout Hawaii. This year's theme is Our Power, Our Planet, which explores the impact of sustainable energy. EarthFest attendees can expect a wholesome, family-friendly event with live music, food trucks, farms, educational nonprofits, small businesses, and artists. These past 12 years have been a huge success, and we have enjoyed seeing so much of the community come together at these events. We appreciate the support of our neighborhood board and in allowing us time tonight to share this exciting event, which is happening April 17th on Kaiser's Great Lawn from 4 to 8 p.m. We hope you join us. I also have left a stack of flyers there for anyone interested in taking them on.
Thank you very much. And was your name Eloise?
Eloise, yes.
Eloise Jones.
Harrison Jones.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing with us. Please come often. Any questions for Eloise? Yes, Paula?
Hi, Eloise. Thank you for coming tonight. Can you give us the hours of the event?
Yeah, it's from 4 to 8 p.m. on the 17th of April.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for your time.
I noticed that we have a representative from the Hawaii Department of Transportation online, and Galen Wong, are there any updates from the Department of Transportation for the neighborhood board or our community?
Yeah. Hi. Good evening, Chair Mayor and the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board. I just want to let you know on the current situation with the legislative bills. We're halfway through session, and there's a right now for our Department of Transportation Highways Division. There's 44 bills that are still moving forward. 22 House bills and 22 Senate bills. Two major ones are the House Bill 2021 HD2 SD1 that deals with the electric bicycle, and trying to clarify and make the law better and clarify everything regarding the electric bikes by people and also at the Department of Education schools and things like that. So that's the bill from last session that didn't got vetoed by the governor. So they're trying to correct the law, amend the laws, and make it good. And also our House Bill 2033 HD2 SD1 that deals with our photo enforcement programs that we're trying to make it permanent and also clarify all the statutes and things like that. Those are the two bills that might be of issue. So if there's anything or any questions you have on any of our projects or stuff like that that I could check on, then you can ask them.
Thank you very much, Galen. Are there any questions for Department of Transportation? Yes, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Galen. One of the residents came and asked me, and I don't know if this is a question for you, Galen, or if it's a question for city and county, but that lookout area between the Coco Marina Center and Hanauma Bay, where people stop and pull over and look out over that small section of Hawaii Kai. Galen, do you recollect that lookout that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's on the highway, right? Kalani
Right.
Highway. So
Right,
I
on
think, yeah,
Kalani.
it would be under our jurisdiction, I think. I can,
Well,
if you want
I
me-
was asked about the feasibility of putting out trash containers out there because a lot of people apparently are littering and there's a
okay.
lot of trash in that area. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's feasible or not, but I just thought I'd bring that up. Thank you.
No, I think we can, I'll talk to our Oahu district people and then let them know who takes care of that lookout and ask them if they could look into installing more trash containers, and I'll get back to you next month on
Okay.
what
Thank you very
happens.
much.
Thank you, Galen. We have another question. Paige?
Galen, hi. Since we're talking about that lookout, quick question for you. What are the rules and or laws or statutes regarding parking for going to Hanauma Bay and going to the lookout hike or to go on the hike at the park? What are the rules regarding that lookout? Because they park there every day.
Right. I know they're not supposed to park there long term, but I'll check on the what's the law or the rule that they use for that parking.
Yeah,
How
thank
long they
you.
can use it and if they can leave it there for a certain longer than a certain amount of period, and who would check on the parking people. I mean, who checks the people who parks there?
Yeah,
Maybe we could have the sheriff's office or whoever check on that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'll get back to you on that next month.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know because the traffic backup in the morning, actually Eva bound on the opposite side of the entrance, coming from the Sandy Beach side. The
Right.
buses and those people, they literally will stop traffic by pulling over to the side and parking and waiting
Right.
for the parking lot to open.
Is this the blowhole? Wait, are we talking about the
No, we're
blowhole?
talking about Hanama Bay. We're talking about
Panama
Hanama
Bay.
Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that whole area just from like 6:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning until like 7:30, 8 o'clock is just a joke.
Right.
So,
I
you
remember.
know,
Yeah, we discussed the. I know the city handles the parking into the bay, and then we just have them, yeah, maintain that part. But yeah, I can get back to you on the
yeah,
thing.
because they literally are blocking the highway. That's Cal
Right.
Highway. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and you're trying to get through or trying to get around the cars. Coming from the Coca Marina side, they're pretty much pulled over to the right-hand side of the road. So it's not as bad, but the other side coming from Sandy Beach is just,
Yeah.
it's just horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the morning
Yeah.
traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Could you come up to the mic, please? Hold on, Galen. We have someone coming
Okay,
up
no
to the
problem.
mic.
I'll be here all through the whole meeting.
Bob Stanfield, Kalama Valley. Could you repeat the numbers for the two bills that you highlighted?
House Bill 2021 and House Bill 2033.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Galen. Oh, one more question. Yes, Sam.
Aloha, Galen. I just wanted to commend the department for their quick action on the portion of the highway by Sea Life Park that had collapsed down to one lane. You guys were so on it in getting that fixed and filling the cavity with concrete and getting that road repaved in such a timely manner. So I really appreciate the work that you did because that was causing a lot of traffic. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I'll let the staff know.
All right. Thank you. We're going to be moving on. Any community announcements? Board members first? None? Members of the audience? Come on up.
Thank you very much. My name is Tom Cooper. I will have some news in a minute, but I do want to repeat who we are for the benefit of the few people who don't know. Thank you, Roberta. I'm a Hawaiʻi Valley resident, and as some of you know, like Cheryl Park, Oscar Ramirez, Joy Schonecker, at these monthly board meetings, I represent a group called HARD. That is Hawaiʻi Advocates for Respectful Development. Many of you know that HARD advocates for the protection and preservation of the James Building next door to the school's playground and two other buildings, the adjacent Cocoa Head Building and the abutting building, which houses 7-Eleven and Boston Pizza. We seek to preserve the surrounding trees and species and prevent any potential high-rise buildings or further commercial development where those buildings presently reside. Many of you also know we have a petition and we urge you to sign it. Most of you have. It's at hahaioniadvocates.com. It's been signed by thousands, and these numbers continue to grow and include, to the best of our knowledge, every community within Hawaii Kai and immediately adjacent to it, and many other parts of Oahu. Many of our community leaders, including many of you and those on Zoom, and I'm explaining this partly for those on Zoom since most of you know this, and people from all Oahu demographics have signed. Folks from many schools, including this one, have signed, and several alums and some administrators, staff, faculty, and parents of students from Kamehameha schools have signed. We're thankful to Chair Tommy Waters, Reps Joe Gideon, they're both here, thank you. Also Mark Hashem, State Senators Chris Lee and Stanley Chang for their support. What's new in this report is that Cheryl Park obtained permission from the director of the James Building to hold an open house inside the James for the community and other guests from 10 a.m. to noon on Saturday, May 9th. Please mark that on your calendar. And we've had the backing of many allies, and many have committed to say they would come and be part of the program. And we thank the elected officials who've done that. However, and here's the news, Kamehameha Schools Bishop of State contacted the director of the James, that is the local liaison, to say that no open house inviting input about the future of the James Building could take place without their permission. So rather than resist, our co-leader, Cheryl Park, has written KSBE requesting permission and inquiring if they want to help host the event with us. So far, their only reply is that they're reviewing the letter and will respond. As you know, they've always said they have no plan, and yet we're now about 2 years away from the expiration of those leases. Cheryl Park has just notified many elected officials of this situation, and we are concerned that this could be interpreted as a veto or could be interpreted, whereas I'd like to interpret it as opening the door to communication with Kamehameha Schools. They have that opportunity. And many of you and others have said, including at Tommy Waters Town Hall, why aren't we hearing from them? What is their plan? This could be that opening. Today, HARD representatives have also met with Andy Sugg, who's Chief of Staff to the Mayor and City Hall. And we've also briefly conversed with the Mayor. We felt our time there was productive because they'll be looking into how different departments in the city might wish to use parts of the building if possible. And of course, we've talked to you, Tommy, about possible use of that building. So our alliances and friendships, including with many of you, continue to grow, and we welcome for many of you opportunities to speak to your groups and others where you have contacts, as well as welcoming volunteers and signatures. Rep. Joe Gideon has been very supportive in this regard. Please hold the morning of Saturday, May 9th, with fingers crossed, in the event Kamehameha agree to support or approve the open house, and we'll keep you posted. Finally, nothing changes from the standpoint of our gratitude. We're very grateful to all those who've been mentioned, to you, to the many board members who've signed and who've supported in a number of ways. I'm very thankful to my wife, Eileen, who never gets credit for the things that I and others do. And to everyone who's watching this meeting on Zoom, you can sign the petition at hahayoniadvocates.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Couple questions. Paige?
Hi, Tom. So did you say that you have people from Kamehameha Schools that signed the petition?
Not only from the schools, but from every dimension of the school.
No, from Kamehameha Schools.
People not in the development at the top, but people who teach, people who attend, parents of people who attend, alums of Kamehameha.
Okay.
Major irony there, but one that we enjoy.
Okay. And what have you guys, besides this woman that you contacted about having an open house in May, has there ever been, have you had any other contact with Kamehameha Schools and what they're planning on doing?
Yes, we have. As you know, Kamehameha Schools came here. So that was one of our distant encounters. And then we, as HARD, have also met with them. And that was done by Zoom with 3 of their representatives and 3 of our representatives. And what was said was that, as always, as Gene Ward called it, KSBS, there was no plan. And what was also said was we saw the traditional, what some people call dog and pony show. I want to be more respectful than that. The legacy video that they show to most groups. And the history that they have, they say, of interacting with the community to get the community's input. But as we talked, we found out that we have far more input from the community, just like you do, and that those are fairly ancient meetings where there was some kind of attempt at getting input. And the input was not necessarily about the James per se, but about what the people of Kamehameha, of Hawaii Kai wanted. So that's been our interaction with them. And then we have this interaction with them now.
Okay, Greg?
Hey, Tom, what was the rationale, justification that Kamehameha Schools had for saying that James could not hold an open house to discuss with the community? I mean, what authority is there that they would have over just having an open house? Why couldn't we just go there and check it out for ourselves? And I would hope you'd proceed, even if the topic is not specifically a community event to determine the future of the property, but just simply for those who are interested to check it out on site.
Thank you. We felt as you did. I'm not a rumor monger. I've heard several things like we touched a nerve and many other things that people, but I do not have authoritative input as to why they're doing this. I think those who've read Broken Trust and those who know the history may have a particular interpretation, and Broken Trust goes way back, but I'm talking about the legacy since then that sustains distrust. Many people have that kind of interpretation, but I cannot speak for Kamehameha. Maybe they have benign intentions. Maybe they will co-sponsor.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking though, is there something legally binding? Is their lease contingent on not discussing the future of the property or something? Which would be odd to have it written into it at the beginning, but what are they citing?
We've not heard anything to that effect. What Cheryl got was a note from Mr. Hori, who is the local representative for Fujitsu, which has owned this lease until it expires until 2028. And what he was told was that there could be no such open house without the permission, without giving any rationale for why that is, the permission of Kamehameha Bishop.
Did they receive that notification in writing or by telephone or
We're
text?
told that it was a phone call, but what we received was in writing from Mr. Hori. And that document does exist as to what he said, they said.
Okay. Herb, you had a question also?
Yeah, the potential times for that open house.
Yes, May the 9th is a Saturday from 10 till noon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. By the way, in the presence of people such as Tommy, such as Joe, and others, I'm humble. They have said that they have had friends or they have had informal conversations with Kamehameha. I'm not at liberty to say what they heard, or I think in most cases didn't hear, but without speaking for them, I just want to say HART is not the official representative. All of you represent the community. All of them represent the community, and we're happy to support you. But we are taking the lead right now on this kind of communication because Cheryl initiated the open house.
Could you come up to ask your question?
Quick question. Would it help if the community wrote letters to Kamehameha requesting attending that meeting or approving that meeting? If they got a lot of people in the community asking, would it help?
Thank you. Offhand, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm going to follow protocol by asking Cheryl what she thinks of that. She's in the middle of representing us right now, but thank you for that good idea. It might well be the case. And I'd be interested in the view of those who've worked with them before on that as well. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Other questions, Paige?
Tom, you just said that Cheryl's representing HARD.
In this particular interaction, this was her idea, and she's taking the lead on it the way I take the lead on petition.
So, but she works for Kamehameha Schools.
She does not.
Oh, okay. So there is nobody from Kamehameha Schools that's dealing with this open house.
We have members of HARD who are Kamehameha graduates,
No, that's not what I'm saying. Who called this open house? Who called to have the open house?
It was Cheryl's idea to approach Mr. Hori at the James Building. They had the initial interaction, but she first asked the leadership of HARD, is this an idea that we'd like to entertain?
Okay, so Kamehameha Schools is not involved in this open house.
We're inviting them to be.
Oh, okay. I thought that Kamehameha Schools called for this open house at James. Okay, so it's the community and James that are calling for this, and Kamehameha Schools is not a part of this as yet.
They have written us a letter that said, basically, thank you for your letter. We will consider this. We will get back to you. In
Okay.
essence, that's what it said.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom, for that information. We hope that we do get to see the building on May 9th. So
Thank you for your support, everyone.
any other community announcements? All right, are there any public generated issues? These are issues that are not on our agenda, but that the community would like to bring to our attention. Okay, I see a hand up online. Rachel B. Would you unmute yourself?
Hi, everyone. These are two things that are not on the agenda. I'm just going to throw it out there. I know that it can't really be discussed now, but one of my concerns is all of the parking that's happening on the left side of Sandy's closest to Kalama Valley, where there's like the Rocky Road side and there's like buses and homeless encampment type thing going on in there. So I have a concern about that. And then I'm also, the second thing I would like to bring up is I do currently live in Kalama Valley, and I know that they're still doing work on the sewer system and the water system over here. So I guess my question with that one would be, what is the projected completion date, and if they plan on repaving the roads when this is all over, because the roads are a mess. And just those two things, sorry.
Just clarification, Rachel. The first item was the parking at Sandy Beach. Is that?
Yes, it's more like by the second bathroom closest to Kalama Valley. It has like two old handy van buses and multiple cars and another like touristy type van that parks there permanently that has been there for multiple months, and seems as if people are living out of those, which is not, my understanding is not supposed to be a homeless encampment per se, and I just have a concern about that.
Okay, I got it. So it's not actually parking, it's the vehicles and the possible homeless encampment at Sandy Beach that you're concerned about.
Yes,
And
that's
then
correct.
Okay, and then the other thing, Kalama Valley sewer repairs. Have you tried contacting Hawaiʻi American Sewer System or company?
No.
It's not, so it's the water, not sewer. Okay. Iris, do you have any comment on what's happening? How long it might take to restore or repair?
Hi, Iris, Board of Water Supply. I don't have an anticipated completion date. You can go to our boardofwatersupply.com site, and there is a construction status of projects, the construction status. So if you could look through that, because I'm sorry, I didn't look at it before I came here tonight, but I have it shown as like being 45% complete yet. So I don't know the estimated completion date. And we would repave it after when it is completed, at least.
You will repave it?
Yeah, we repave something. Yeah, we have to make it nicer.
Okay, Greg?
That might be misleading, though. I think she's asking about, like, is the whole roadway going to be repaved?
Okay.
And I know you patched the trenches, but that's
Oh, okay,
not the
yeah.
thing.
So I know we would fix the trenches, correct? I don't know if the whole roadway would be repaved. I'm not sure of the requirements. I could ask that, though, if that's known. Okay.
Okay, well, Rachel, we might get a response on the the water repairs fairly soon. Iris, if you get some information, would you email it to me and then I will let the board members know. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, and we'll look at the homeless issue at Sandy Beach. We have a number of people that go out there and monitor that beach and what's happening there. So I'm sure that we'll have some follow-up. Okay, we're going to be moving on. Next on our agenda
Chair,
is,
sorry.
oh, yes,
could I just
Elijah?
have a public generated issue?
Sure, yes, go ahead.
From a constituent on Mariners Ridge about maintenance in a few different areas, including the park and ride across of Hawaiʻi Town Center, the boat lot in that same area, the Great Lawn, and around the post office. There was concern about overgrowth of the trees and maybe whether there is maintenance that can be done in those areas, as well as homeless also at the park and ride bus stop and on the Great Lawn. So just wanted to raise those issues.
Did you say homelessness at the Great Lawn? I haven't seen anything
The
there.
constituent that I spoke to from Mariners Ridge said that she had seen recently some either homeless or evidence that people had been camping in that area, maybe around the edges, probably not, in the middle, but I guess maybe certain areas that are more concealed. That was what she had said.
Herb?
Hi, in regards to the park and ride homeless, I've been speaking to the beat officers. How they deal with it is they just keep ticketing them until they get warrants and then they push them off. From what I see now, it's been pretty good.
I'm not sure who's responsible for maintaining the grounds if there's overgrowth. Kamehameha Schools, I think, owns several of those properties, but I can't say who owns the dog park area and the park and ride and those places. Herb, you have a comment?
Yeah, Joanna, how is it in the morning with the homeless people now?
I don't take the bus often anymore, but I do know what Elijah's constituent was talking about because I have seen them early in the morning hopping the fence over from the bushes. And I believe, I don't want to put words in his constituent's mouth, but the overgrowth adds a lot of coverage and they can be concealed behind there. So I've personally seen it. So, especially early in the morning. So even if you may not see them from the street, you might see them if you hop over the fence. Or even I've seen a couple of individuals and they were walking on the Great Lawn into brush. I don't know where they were going, but they were walking straight into the brush in midday.
Elizabeth, comment?
Yes, I wanted to offer up that the Hawaii Marina Association should be contacted because part of that is their property, as well as a small section that belongs to Kamehameha Schools. And there was a problem before with these very areas that they're discussing around the dog park and the park and ride, hopping the fence. And it was a coordinated effort with Hawaii Marina Association taking the lead because it's predominantly their land.
Okay. Johanna and then Greg.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Actually, that reminds me, the reason why there is the clearance on Hawaii Drive on the right side is because of this issue. And several years ago, that is why there's no longer that brush down. And there's actually, I wouldn't say cement, but there's a platform there. And it's no longer vegetation.
I was just going to say that the marina owns the likely brush property.
Okay, anything else? Any other public generated issue? All right. I was going to say we have no presentation scheduled tonight, but I was going to ask the board members if it might be appropriate. Is there a group or a number of you that might be interested in serving on an ad hoc committee to identify areas of need in the community? During the storms this past month, there have been a number of issues that arose because areas were not cleaned out ahead of time, or we learned some things about our community, the vulnerability of our community. And I was wondering if maybe it might be a good idea for us to identify some of these areas and be proactive and let the city know ahead of time that we would like to see these addressed. Are there any volunteers that might want to just throw some ideas together and we can put a letter together? Paula, Robbie, Elijah? Great. Okay. So the three of you, if maybe you could contact each other and put together a list and propose that to the board, and we'll see if maybe we can put a letter together either next meeting or the following meeting. Okay? Great. That's wonderful. I know that there are a lot of needs in our community, and I think we should be proactive and identify some of these before the next big storm hits. Okay. I wanted to remind everybody that we do have 3 at-large vacancies on our board. Are there any members of the community that are here tonight that would like to be considered for an appointment to one of these vacant seats? No one? Well, hopefully someone will join us next month. We're going to be moving on to our officials' reports. And first is Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Amy Asselby. Amy, are you here online?
I am here online.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I will share some of the updates on the flood relief by linking the mayor's newsletter into the chat here. But I also wanted to just note that some of the debris collection sites will no longer be collecting debris. This has been something that has been noted as an issue, and the regular collection sites for the Department of Environmental Services will continue to receive storm debris. So if you have any around your house, anything that you've had to collect that's unusual, house material or yard waste or trees, please utilize the city's regular trash pickup or our bulky item pickup, etc. Beyond that, there is a bunch of information available once again on the One Oahu website. That was reactivated from COVID days to provide basically a one-stop shop for city updates and also resources for support on the Kona low storm recovery. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to take them back or try to answer them today as best and most updated information that I have. Beyond that, I wanted to make sure that we have some time to cover what's kind of a long update finally on the Cocoa Crater stables. So I'll move on to that if that's okay with the chair and members. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to answer 5 questions that have come up as you've waited for more detailed responses on the Cocoa Crater stables situation. So the first question that was asked was, why hasn't the city turned the Cocoa Crater stables property over to the vendor in operable condition? So the response is this. The concession was awarded through a competitive process in which prospective bidders were provided information regarding the site and given access during the solicitation process via an opportunity to participate in a site visit of the premises so that prospective concessionaires were fully aware of the site conditions. The Department of Enterprise Services records indicate that the current concessionaire, Kim Hollingsworth, did not participate in the site visit, but 3 individuals attended on behalf of Aloha Riding Lessons. Prior to the site visit, the contract documents listed 52 line items identified as the property of the then existing concessionaire that would not be replaced by the city. So following the site visit, an amendment was issued that also added 8 additional line items for a total of 60. That included a catch-all provision for any, quote, any other property that is the property of the previous concession operator. So under the contract, the concessionaire accepted the premises in its, quote, existing condition and was responsible for developing a visitor services plan describing how the facility would be restored, maintained, and operated as a part of the concession. Consistent with the terms of the agreement, operational improvements needed to prepare the facility for visitor services, those were anticipated to be addressed by the concessionaire as a part of their planning and preparation. So that is the complete answer to question number 1. Question number 2 was, were the funds budgeted for Cocoa Head Stables in last year's budget? Were there funds? And the answer to that is yes. There was $350,000 in Bill 23 from 2025 in the CD2 FD1. Question number 3 is, will funds be allocated for the Cocoa Head Stables in this year's budget? So the answer to that from the administration is no. CIP funds are 2-year funds, and the $350,000 is good through June 2027. Question number 4 is, why have funds that were previously available for the stables been redirected to other purposes rather than resolving the situation? This is a longer answer, once again. The funds referenced above have not been redirected. They have not been encumbered because the city needs to resolve very complex issues at the stables and, equally important, work which needs to be undertaken, including to but not limited to the removal of existing structures, some with known lead-based paint, and it cannot be done safely with the existing use of the facility. There are projects ongoing that benefit both the botanical garden and the stables, and those projects are funded with $280,000. And it reads, the title of these funds to be used are for Cocoa Crater Botanical Garden / stables entrance and parking improvements and a shared use comfort station. So this is a phased CIP project to improve the entrance road to the stables, to reconfigure and improve garden parking, parking for the gardens, construct a shared use comfort station to include sewer line installation and relocation of the existing water meter and lines to possibly include supporting fire hydrants. So those are where the funds are $280,000 of the funds for the botanical gardens and stables entrance are being used. The status of the projects from the Department of Design and Construction on water line improvements is that phase 1A at Kokonani Street to Kokouka Place to the Botanical Garden driveway. That construction is estimated to be bid on July 1, and that is on schedule. Phase 1B is the Botanical Garden driveway to the Botanical Gardens, and that is the estimated construction bid date start of August 2nd, 2027. So that's a year and a few months from now. Phase 1B would occur prior to this next phase, which phase 2 is Kokonani Street to Sandy Beach Park. And the estimated construction bid date is around October 15th of 2027. I hope that's slightly comprehensible. The final question was about the contractor that the city is working with at the Cocoa Head Stables project. And that contractor is Shimabukuro Endo and Yoshizaki Incorporated. And that is the total information I have. If you have questions beyond what I just provided, I'm happy to take those back and get further responses for your information. Additionally, I wanted to remind everyone that the mayor's town halls will be starting in April. And there are a couple that make sense for Hawaii Kai folks or Hawaii Kai neighborhood board members to attend. They're fairly close. On April 23rd, there's one in Waimanalo District Park. So if you want to go that way, or if you want to go into town, there are two in May. One on May 14th at Mission Memorial, and another on May 21st at the Alawai Golf Course Ballroom. All of the mayor's town halls start at 6:30 and they will end at 8:30. So in the meantime, I'm happy to take any further questions, whether it be on Cocoa Head Stables or anything else. But there will be another opportunity to address the mayor directly at these April and May town hall meetings.
Amy, just one quick question from me before I ask the others. The phase 2, Kokonani Street to Sandy Beach Park, what kind of construction is going to occur in phase 2?
So these are all water line improvements. And that's just the progress of the water line improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, other questions? Yes, Paige.
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for your report. I don't obviously need each line item, but you said that in the original contract that was signed and was taken over by the new vendors, that there were 60 line items in total regarding, if I have this correct, regarding items at the stable that were not part of what the new owners would be taking. Is that correct? Or would not be assuming or?
Right. That,
Okay.
I think you're saying the same thing that I shared, which was there were 60 items that were identified as property of the previous concessionaire. And so they
Okay.
would be removed. And that was in the contract that the current concessionaire signed.
Okay. So I did understand that correctly.
Yep.
Do you have a copy of those 60 line items? Have you seen those 60 line items by chance?
No, I have not.
Okay. Could you, I guess my question is, I'd like to know if those 60 line items included all the nails, all the wood, all the structures, and yeah, if all of that is included in those 60 line items, I'm just curious because when Horsehaven left, that's some of the stuff that they took, where they broke down all the paddocks and all the stables and took all the wood and took all the nails and took everything. So I'm just curious if that's part of the 60 line items. If you could find out for me. I don't need to know everyone, just if that was part of those line items, I'd be interested.
So all the paddock material.
Oh yeah, they took everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, literally everything. Then the
Mhm.
other question that I had was regarding the $350,000 that was allocated, and you said it was 2 years, so it ends next year, which means it came through last year, right? With the CIP for the $350,000. I think that was question
That is correct.
3. Okay.
2025 through 2027. Yep.
Okay, what is the timeline on that $350,000 and what are the parameters as to what that has to be used for? That's my next question. And because I know, well, my understanding is that regarding CIP money, that there is a timeline that the mayor has something like 3 years to dole it out or whatever. So, I mean, I'm curious about what the timeline is of that $350,000. If it expires, I guess that's the right word, in 2027, when can the stables expect to receive that money, and what are the parameters and constraints surrounding what they need to use that for? And
Paige, I think 280,000 has already been allocated, and
That
that's
was
in those
allocated to the-
construction phases.
that
That's-
was allocated to the botanical gardens.
No, it's the entire project there. It's the water line for the stables.
Okay,
and-
so $350,000 was not allocated to the stables. It was allocated to the water line construction. Is that wrong, or is that
280,000 evidently has been set aside for the water
of the
line.
$350,000?
I believe so, yes.
Is that right, Amy?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading in this. Of the 350,000, 280,000 is being used for, and this is the quote, the quoted section, Cocoa Crater Botanical Garden and Stables, entrance and parking improvements, and shared use comfort station. So this is a phased CIP project to improve the entrance road to the stables, reconfigure and improve garden parking, construct a shared use comfort station that includes the sewer line installation and relocation of existing water meters and possible fire hydrants. So it sounds like they're starting the water lines first in terms of the phases that I shared.
Okay, and the $350,000, is that a realistic number that's going to cover all of that?
I think it covers that project, it says, is funded with $280,000 of the 350.
For phase 1?
Phase 1A, 1B, and 2.
Okay. So they're gonna, okay, I guess that would, okay. Okay, that's it, I guess. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Greg, and then Elizabeth, and then Rachel B.
I'm just asking that that report that Amy has given be submitted to you and shared then with the other board members. We need a written account. It's getting too complicated.
Amy, is it all right if I share your written notes with the rest of the board members? Amy?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, sure, no problem.
All right, thank you. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Thank you. A clarification question and then a comment. The clarification question is, out of the 350 of the 280 already allocated, will any of that at all, outside of what was described, go to the stables? That's one question. And my comment is, I want Amy, for you to understand and for the administration to have an appreciation for the fact that we're asking constantly about this because Cocoa Crater Stables is a community asset that we take a lot of pride in because it's part of the heritage of Mauna Lua. And we've fought long and hard to want to keep it and be able to use it. So I thought it was really important to put into context that we're very vigilant about community assets. And this is one. So thank you so much. But if you could clarify, please, on the amount of money, if any of that money goes towards on land for stables. Thank you.
Okay, Rachel B.
Hello, I just thought of a couple of questions. When is the new vendor's contract up for the cocoa stables? That would be my first question. I don't know how long that those people are, the contract is. And then the second thing I was going to ask was, if she's running a business up there, but it's not really accessible to the public, but she's still able to run a business up there. Is that, I don't know how that works because I tried to go up there and I was told I couldn't go up there.
Okay, Amy, are you able to respond to that?
I will have to go back and ask those questions. The way I understood it was one, when is the contract up with the new vendor? And number two, under the contract, are they required to open the business and the stables to the public? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Yes.
Herb, did you have a comment?
Yeah, with all due respect, I totally disagree. I've been with this from the very beginning, and the city has totally mishandled it. And now you're telling me, too bad, so sad for Aloha writing lessons. I just don't understand. Plus, 350,000 I thought was for the stables, but 280,000 is for a water line, and nothing has been done. So what I'm understanding on tonight's report is you're telling Aloha Riding Stables that they got to put everything back that was ripped out of Cocoa Crater Stables. And it was ripped out rudely. All right, thank you.
I think, Herb, what you're talking about goes back to, and I think, just to clarify what you're talking about, it's when you can read the written reply, I think you're correct. It says, consistent with the terms of the agreement, operational improvements needed to prepare the facility for visitor services were anticipated to be addressed by the concessionaire as a part of their planning and preparation. So I think that's what you just said, and I believe that's exactly what was stated in the information that was provided to me.
Yeah, that's what I heard tonight.
Yeah.
Why did
Yeah.
it take the city years to finally say something like that? That's my question.
Okay, Elizabeth?
I wanted to get clarification perhaps at the next meeting. There are the structures that need to be taken down that are unsafe up at Cocoa Crater Stables does create a safety and liability issue for the lessee. And so I'm wondering if we could get some clarity as to when and what that looks like on behalf of the city. Because as Rachel B was indicating, for whatever reason, she wasn't allowed on the property. And I know that the structures are a concern. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the concern, as was noted in this report, is quote, resolving complex issues at the stables, which is equally important, and the work that needs to be undertaken is including the removal of those existing structures that have known lead-based paint. So that is a part of what's holding up, it sounds like, work on the structures.
Elijah?
Hi, Director Asselby. Thank you for your report. I just had a question from a constituent in Mariners Ridge about the roadway project on Kaluanui Road, kind of toward the top. It's been blocked off, half the road, and then they're directing two-way traffic on the other side. But there was concern about when that will be done. I believe there's coordination between BWS, DFM, and DDC. But there was concern about what the long-term resolution will be. There was talk that PIOs would write a report and that it would be temporarily patched, but there was concern over what the permanent solution would be, as well as lower parts of Kaluanui Road. There was wear and tear from just use, I suppose, and also concern about tree roots breaking up side gutters and the sidewalk and the road, and what could be done about that as well in terms of maintenance and upkeep.
I will check on that. So Kaluanui Road construction project, the timing on the long-term project and the permanent resolution, including tree roots near the bottom of that section
Yes,
of the
I think
road.
they're two different things. One is, yeah, the upper part. I think that is a BWS project that they're having a temporary plan for, but not a long-term plan. And then the lower part of Kaluanui Road, I think, is a separate. It's not necessarily a ongoing project, but just if there could be better maintenance so that it's kept in good condition.
Okay, Paige?
Amy, so just back to the stables for a minute. You know, Elizabeth said it best. You know, the stables have been a staple in this community since before I started riding there. And I'm not going to give my age, but it's been a long freaking time. And I think the community and I think the people that care about the stables, and I think the new concession people at the stables, and I think this board have been enormously patient going through the channels, asking the questions, waiting for the city to make a decision. The city didn't take this long making a decision when they were working with the rail. And it is outrageous to me that, and this is nothing against you personally, but that you come here tonight to answer these 5 questions, and we still have questions regarding your answers to these questions that we know you're going to come back with another load of answers that aren't going to say anything. And it's extremely frustrating when we're talking about something. It seems to me like the city really, really cares about the botanical gardens, but they just don't give a hang about the stables. And I would love to know why. I would love Mayor Blangiardi and the Department of Parks and the Department of Enterprise Services and Kim Hollingsworth and the people that are attached to this to sit down in a room and to figure out what the answers are to these questions. And I think that that's one way that this is going to get done, because this is, frankly, for me, this is outrageous.
Okay, thank you, Paige. Rachel B., you have your hand up.
Yes, sorry, one more question. In regards to me trying to get up there, you know, just to take a child up there to walk around, I was kind of told I couldn't. I understand that I heard somebody say that there's buildings under that are unsafe up there, which, okay, I understand that, but she's running a business up there, so there's lots of people up there. So I don't know why it wouldn't still be open to the public if there's these buildings there.
Okay, thank you, Rachel B. Amy, this continues to be on our agenda because, as Elizabeth said, this is a community asset that currently is not open to the public community. So it's been several years, and we're going to continue to monitor this. because we would like it to be available to everyone who wants to go there. Okay, thank you so much.
Understood. Thank you. And
okay, hold on. Wait.
appreciate your patience
All right, and
with these
Kimberly,
responses.
you have your hand up. Is this Kimberly Hollingsworth?
Yes, it
Un-
is. With
unmute
Aloha
yourself.
writing
Yeah.
lessons.
Hello, come on.
Can you hear
Go
me?
ahead. Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm sick and so I'm on my phone. I we are we are not allowed to have it open for the public. It's by appointment only, and I don't know who Rachel spoke to, but if she calls me, I'm happy to set a time for them to come up, but I am only doing what the city told me that I could do. And everything has to be by appointment and run basically through, those channels. So I'm only allowed to do what I'm doing. My hands are tied. I wish I could have, everybody up there, and it was a beautiful facility, and it was safe for kids to walk around, and it was safe for everybody to have horses. But I am literally sitting, treading water, waiting for the city to tell me that I can open and have everything put back the way it should be so that it's safe and we can be open. So, we are definitely not, picking and choosing who we can have up there for sure. It is just by appointment only. But Rachel, if you give me a call, I'm happy to make a time for you to come up, but it just has to be safely done and maneuver because we do have these structures that are literally falling down that have not been touched in 60, 70 years since they were built.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly, for that clarification. All right, and Amy, thank you very much for your report. Any other questions for the mayor's representative? All right, thank you so much. I think we've given you a list of things to follow up on. Thank you so much. Next
it.
on our
Thanks.
agenda is City Council Chair Tommy Waters. Thank you for joining us tonight, Tommy.
Members, good evening. It is kind of cold outside, yeah? I think it's like 68 degrees last night. But I have 5 things I want to talk about tonight, but let's start with a feel-good one. Last time I was here, we recognized 2 of your council members, and I want to recognize another one tonight. In recognition of your outstanding service and unwavering dedication to the Hawaii Kai community since 2001, your leadership as a Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board member, serving 9 years as chair and currently the vice chair, has made a lasting impact. Your commitment to responsible development, environmental stewardship, preservation of scenic resources, and fostering community pride has strengthened and enriched the region for everyone. Your legacy of service, leadership, and aloha inspires us all. Greg Knutson.
Well-deserved recognition.
Next thing I wanted to talk about was the Sandy Beach vehicle vandals we've all heard about. So I got the call from Joe, Representative Gideon, and we contacted the police department, and I want to just read to you what they responded to me. They had a misdemeanor follow-up detail look into the case, and they met with DPR, Department of Parks and Recreation, and got a damage estimate of over $3,000 from a combination of damage to the grass area as well as irrigation system. That information required us to classify the case, HPD report number 26-107228, as a criminal property damage in the 2nd degree, which is a Class C felony, punishable, by the way, of 5 years in jail. The case was then reassigned to one of District 7 zone detectives to further the investigation. He reviewed all the available video footage, and by the way, Joe was able to give us the actual license plates, which we turned over to HPD, license plate numbers, photos of these cars. He reviewed all available video footage, and it was determined that although we can establish certain vehicles and people that are responsible for some of the damage, it would be very difficult to determine exactly what vehicle damaged the irrigation system or the extent of damage the grass surface each vehicle was responsible for. Therefore, moving forward, to try to screen the case with the prosecutor's office would be difficult. That being said, District 7 officer did issue 2 citations for park rule violations to 2 separate vehicle operators based on his observation when responding to complaints related to the incident. Detectives also reached out to the parents of one of the parties identified in the photos and videos, and they related they were aware of the incident and had revoked the child's driving privileges due to the incident. Detectives reached out to the registered owner of the other vehicle identified in the photos and the videos, but it appears that the driver during the time element could not be determined. This was from Samuel Bartle, the lieutenant of the area. But to me, that basically is a slap on the wrist, right? That 3,000 worth of damage. You know, I'd like to see perhaps the parents of the kids pay for that, right? So one of the things I'd like your support of, and I'll follow up with the detectives. We just got this follow-up today. But, you know, and we have a former police officer sitting with us, but it sounds like what should have been done was you sit that one minor down, right, with the parent and say, tell us who these other drivers are, right? Get a statement from them and then follow up with the investigation and then go talk to those guys and interview them and then charge them or tell them, look, pay for the damages, right? Otherwise, it's taxpayer money that's going to have to pay for this, you know, which is terrible. $3,000 is a lot of money. So, you know, we can't do it tonight because of the sunshine law, but if you'd like, I'll push the detective to do more, but maybe take a stand on this as well, that we want HPD to do more, right? And I'll back you guys up with that. So there's that. Next, I want to talk about HARD, Hawaiʻi Advocates for Responsible Development. So I was able to get in the budget this year. Well, it's really, really early in the budget process, right? We just went through first reading of the budget. We're about to go to second reading in April. But so far, we have 34 million in the budget to purchase the property. I have to manage expectations because at this point, the best I got out of Kamehameha schools, and they hold everything so close to the vest, but they said we'd consider selling it. So there's no agreement to buy it between the city and Kamehameha schools. But I thought if we could put the money in the budget as a placeholder in the event that they are willing to sell it to us. You know, the city just spent $26 million buying this property on the North Shore to do exactly what we want to do here, right? Have a hub for city services right in the North Shore. We thought, okay, we have Satellite City Hall here that we're leasing space. I think actually Kamehameha Schools owns the land, but they're not the ones who are operating the shopping center. But we could put the police department there. People are concerned about noise. I don't know if they'd like an ambulance there, but it'd be good to have an ambulance, you know, perhaps there, so we don't have to lease space in other spots. So that's right now in the budget. If you guys want to testify, log on to honolulucitycouncil.org. It's super easy. And you can express to my colleagues that, hey, this is a worthwhile purchase for the city. We did have one council member who objected because they didn't want Kamehameha Schools to sell any land. But that's aside from the point. There was only one council member objecting. I also do want to, however, like manage your expectations on whether or not we're actually going to get that 34 million through the whole process and they're released by the mayor, because it is a lot of money. Yeah, just today, the managing director reported to the city council, and you folks can look it up online. It's Mayor's Message 38. It was really, really depressing, actually, because the cost of this Kona low storm to the city is staggering. Of course, personal property was damaged. It looks like it's going to be upwards of $1 billion. $1 billion in private property. And a lot of those folks were not insured. I actually walked through that devastation area and talk to people to find out who was insured, who wasn't insured, and see if we can get city resources there. But it's going to cost anywhere between 34 and 52 million, right? And here's just a couple of the highlights. Well, one, just we needed to get HPD out there. That's 1.2 million in overtime for HPD. Between 4 and 5 million for debris sorting. Folks might have saw it on the news. The community got all this garbage out, and then it's just piles and piles of it. And you got to sort it because you can't burn it all. You know, you got dishwashers and washing machines and all that stuff got to be taken out. And that can be recycled. Metal is taken out, and then you try to burn the rest. Not to mention the environmental concerns that go along with that. You know, there's a lot of cesspools, and you know, it's just very, very dangerous. Housing, we're trying to house those folks who were left homeless. That's going to cost between $5 and $10 million. Chinatown property damage. I didn't know Chinatown was damaged, but that's between 7 and 9 million. Wailua Fire Station was damaged. That's between 1.5 and 3 million. Communication towers are damaged, and we're not sure how much that's going to cost. Flood control in various locations, anywhere between 1.8 and $10 million. An ambulance was destroyed, and going down there to try to save somebody. Ambulance was $280,000. Yikes. Anyway, so the idea is we're going to have to find money for all this stuff, either in the existing budget or in the rainy day fund. So that's part of what I think the council, working with the mayor and his team, to figure out how to do that. That's why I want to just manage expectations. We're talking about, you know, buying James for 34 million. I'm thinking we got to do this first, but I'll still try to fight for that. But yeah, I like what you're saying, Chair, and the ad hoc committee on determining what this community needs, because we can add that to this list. I think one of the things I've been advocating for years, ever since the Aina Haina flood, remember the river Wailupe stream overflowed. We gotta do stream maintenance. Gotta do it. You know, we don't do it enough. And if this doesn't tell us that, I don't know what will. So one of the things I'm going to be advocating for, utilizing some of the rainy day fund to go in there and clean all the streams, and then constantly update that, right? I know I was told that they hadn't cleaned it in 5 years before that flood, right? So that's not responsible. So to Hard, I'm with you guys. I'm happy to attend the meeting. I'll be there. Like I say, Kamehameha Schools, they just hold everything so close to the vest. They won't tell me. We have a lot of property in my district that Kamehameha Schools owns, right? The farmlands, Kahala Hotel, the Waialae Golf Course, those condos where the leases are up along Kahala Beach, that's all Kamehameha School property. Kahala Mall, right? So we'll keep at it. That's number 3. Number 4, thank you guys. You guys got my email, right? Concerned about Senate Bill 2423, right? You guys remember that? Yeah, so what this bill said and was gonna do was allow by right, allowing folks to subdivide their properties down to 2,500 square feet by right. And the city council or the administration couldn't do anything about that because it'd be state law. Anyway, so say you had a 10,000 square foot lot. You could subdivide it into four units, 4 houses. So that's 4 houses where there was once one. 2 years ago, Senate Bill 3202 tried to do the same thing. And I fought against that. It ended up passing. It took this part out. But what was passed was the city has to allow 2 ADUs. right? 2. So now, if this would have passed, you'd have had the 4 houses plus possible 2 ADUs on each one of these, right? So 3, 6, 9, 12 units. 12 units on what used to be one house. In other words, it legalized monster homes. You don't see it as much in Hawaii Kai, but you do see some of it. But in Kaimuki, there's a proliferation of these things. 17 bedrooms here, 15 bedrooms there. What Senate Bill 2423 would have done was legalize monster homes. We have zoning for a reason, right? There's an apartment zone. Those kinds of units should be in apartment zone areas. And thank you for your folks, for your advocacy, because the introducers backed off. They did. But they said they're gonna come back again next year. So we gotta keep vigilant on this. I guess that's it. I'm available for questions.
Herb, then Paula.
I thank you for coming. Mine is more a compliment about the Kona Low, the trucks all around, the thing. And I think it's because of the maintenance now. It's doing well, at least in our area. I know we had a lot of water and stuff like that, so we have some damage, but I think taking care of those streams is awesome, and I want to thank you and your guys and the state.
Thank you, Herb.
Hi there, Jamie. I live in a house that has the Anapalau ditch that runs behind it, and they paved it a few years ago, and I thought, whoa, what a great idea this is. But you won't believe what's growing up through it, like rubber trees and kiawe everywhere, and a lot of animals, mostly cats, the cat freeway down there. So I would like that to be included, not just streams, but the ditches as well, because a week before these Konas came through, there was a giant kiawe tree branch right behind my house, and I could find a kiawe tree looking up and down near us. But I have one more question or statement regarding Senator Chang's proposal. I mean, I read your newsletter yesterday online, and I was really disturbed by it. And part of me wanted to know who's behind this, who are the lobbyists that are behind doing this, and we could turn our island into just wall-to-wall homes, just wall-to-wall tiny homes. I love tiny homes, but this is really frightening, and I'm a little surprised at Senator Chang, especially since he comes from over here, So I was disappointed about that. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
Well, regarding the Ana Palau ditch, I totally agree with you. Part of what happened in Wailua was the ditches weren't maintained. Dole used to own a bunch of that land, and they used to maintain it regularly when they were in operation. And those ditches haven't been cleaned. So you're right, we need to clean the ditches as well as the stream. And I'll get on top of that as well. As far as who's behind this, so I think the introducers of the bill really believe in their heart that that's the solution to affordable housing. I really do. There's no lobbyists, that's why, as far as I can tell. There's nobody lobbying them to do this. Senator Schatz did get involved with this a few years ago, 3202. So I don't know if he's also a believer. But the fact of the matter is, as I stated earlier, it's zoning, right? This is residential. We already have our residential 3.5, R5, R7.5, R10, and R20, I think. But if you want to change that, you got to come to the council and have a public hearing. So you can lower the size of your lot, but you have to get approvals from us in a public forum where people can testify. What those bills were gonna do was, it was by right. The public couldn't have any input whatsoever. That was part of the problem, right? There would be no public input. They would be just allowed to build a 17-bedroom unit, apartment, basically. But here's the thing. That's not a problem in an apartment zone area, in my mind, right? We need units. I don't deny that. And since I've been on the council, we've approved over 10,000 units. And working with this administration, over 10,000 units. Part of the deal is trying to get them built, right? Getting them permitted. But to me, you're not solving the homeless problem by affordable housing problem by doing this, because you're gonna get people like these developers, Christy Lay, right? I'm sure you read about her in Civil Beat. She's built 50 of these already. Goes and knocks down perfectly good houses, right? And then builds these monster homes. And don't think it won't happen in Hawaii Kai. Hawaii Kai is a desirable neighborhood, right? You can knock down a $2 million house and put up $4 million, four $2 million houses. You can make a lot of money by doing that. And that's what I think is going to happen. You're going to get a bunch of outside investors, buy one house, knock it down and build 3 or 4 or as many permitted under 2,500 square feet. It's not going to solve the affordable housing problem. So that's why I'm fighting against it. Plus, you guys all work so hard to have this type of neighborhood, right? You don't want to get it subdivided without community input. I get off my soapbox, sorry.
Tommy,
Yeah.
on the vandalism at Sandy Beach, could we ask for your support when that's cleaned up? Could we put a boulder barrier around that area so that automobiles cannot go on that lawn to tear it up again?
That's a great idea. We did that with Baba Malu.
Right.
And we got the boulders for free from.
Right.
Yeah, I love that idea. Great idea.
Okay, so I'm pushing that.
Okay.
Elizabeth has her hand up, then Sam, and then Lisa. Elizabeth, go ahead, unmute yourself.
I had a question, but you were answering it, Council Chair. It had to do with the ownership of those large structures that would get built if such a measure passed. But my question then now is, from a proactive standpoint, can you think with your team what we can start to do through the neighborhood board system to rally up against this so we don't get caught, since you know that they're going to be coming back? Certainly through Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board, we could have conversations with our senator. But my thoughts are that we work with the governor and start letting the message be known loud and clear that we don't want this, and we use the neighborhood board system. So maybe just think about what that could look like, and then we can start it here, and then rapid fire, make it go throughout the island, and look to get the governor's support so that by next year, Senator Chang and whomever else would recognize that we're already working against this, that this is wrong. It's just really ill planning. Just a thought.
Yeah, great. No, great idea. Great idea. I mean, we came close to killing 3202 2 years ago. I think maybe 2 votes in the House. Really, really interesting debate. If you folks have the time, go on YouTube and look at when the House debated House Bill 1919 dealing with parking. It ended up dying, but it was so close. It's actually pretty entertaining to watch the debate.
Thank you for your presence and all your hard work during these crazy storm times. I have a few questions. First one regarding the 34 million for the James property. How was that dollar amount determined? And is that going to provide a cost savings to the city over a period of time? It seems like a pretty exorbitant amount of money for the city to pay for that particular lot if there's no cost savings that are going to make it feasible. Another point I had is regarding, I know it's not our district, but if God forbid something like what happened in Wailua had happened in our district, the debris removal and putting it at Patsy Mink,
with all the, I haven't seen too much discussion about it, but all the toxicity of those materials, there was no liner put down on top of the soil. It was just all dumped there. That area of the park is not going to be usable for a long period of time. And I can't believe just even that bare minimum was done. So I think that was a huge oversight to even just have a tarp down. And then one thing I respect Chair's efforts, Mayor's efforts in trying to build a little bit more resiliency and brainstorm some ideas that we can do in the community for future storms, the inevitable future of weather events. But one thing that was really concerning and eye-opening, we saw it on Maui, but losing power is one thing, but to lose cell service entirely and not have any ability to understand, we lost power at our condo, 6 p.m. We went through the night, woke up, no cell service, no understanding of what happened to the highway. Was there another flooding in Aina Haina that washed the road out? We had no ability to communicate. And so I know that the cell towers and the power for that is it's at the responsibility of the cell companies or whoever the service provider is. But as a county, we need more resiliency built in so people can at least call for emergency services, or the city has a way to get out notifications to people, because if tens of thousands of people do not have a way to communicate, that's where chaos can ensue. And we really saw that on Maui. And thankfully, there was technology like Starlink available, but it was done on an individual level. I think we really need a county, if not a state level response to that type of incident when there's no power for the cell towers. So thank you.
No, thanks, Sam. I think that's an excellent point, and we need to learn from what happened during this storm. And that's exactly another lesson we can learn. Figure out, by the way, we're having a hearing tomorrow. We're going to be talking to the Department of Emergency Management to ask some of those questions, and I'll bring that up. Like, how can we make our communication system more resilient? Definitely bring that up. Yeah, I think that garbage thing happened so fast that nobody was thinking about it. But now that you brought it up, it seems like common sense. Like, you got kids playing on that field, right? They're not going to be able to play there anymore. Yeah, and honestly, I don't know how you remediate that. The only thing is time, really.
There's going to be lead, there's going to be asbestos. But a lot of those properties are very old. All that is going to seep into the soil unless they remove, a couple feet of that, maybe, or a foot, and patch it down again and resod it, then maybe. But still, it's a big oversight and it was hard to watch. I understand the intent behind just having a central location for that and pick it up later, but to not even do that portion. The biosocks, they're not going to do anything for what's seeping into the soil there.
Yeah, they didn't take it to H-Power, or they didn't take it to H-Power because they wanted to sort it because they couldn't burn everything. They didn't take it to the landfill because it was all wet and the trucks were getting stuck. So they just stuck, and they probably figured, okay, we better just put it there, because they needed to get it out of the community. But yeah. Again, another lesson that we learned. And then your last question dealing with it, where did the 34 million? I just took the tax assessed value, But you're right, that's a lot. One of the things Adam and I and my staff, we had a staff meeting today, and I asked staff to find out how much rent are we paying for those cities' services, right? The police department and Satellite City Hall. Figure out how much that rent is, and then go offer Kamehameha Schools, let's lease it. Let's go lease it. And hopefully at the same price for what we're paying for the other places. And sometimes with leasing, if you do a long-term lease, right, the price goes down. So the city can do that, right? By the way, it's a beautiful building. I got a chance to go in there. The Coopers took me in there. It's a wonderful building. It'd be great if we could utilize that. Plus the grounds are just so beautiful. It's just so nice. Yeah. The zoning there, by the way, by right, they can build, I believe, up to 4 stories by right. And I've been trying to convince them that, hey, look, the community doesn't want that. You got to work with the community, right? But again, they keep everything close to the vest. They keep telling me that we don't know what we're gonna do. Well, if you don't know, lease it to the city. So I'll be fighting for that. Thanks for your question, Sam.
Lisa, did you have your
Yes,
hand up?
yes, thank you. Tommy, thank you for fighting to defer Senate Bill 2423. That was really, really critical, and your leadership was just outstanding in that on behalf of all of us. I wanted to echo, Sam, what you talked about, the breakdown in the communications infrastructure. That's really, we found that really critical, not only for us, but you saw that on the North Shore and what happened. So, as well as Lahaina, but the North Shore experienced that over the last few days, or during the Kona lows as well. So whatever we could do as a community, as a county to help that, something to be looking forward to doing. We haven't heard anything from the president as to whether or not we're going to get any funding for, well, that'll,
Not yet. My understanding is that the governor made a request and we're
Right.
still waiting.
okay.
But even then, get this, I just learned that the city was, or the state only was reimbursed the money from the Manoa flood from the time when it overflowed and went in Hamilton Library. That was like 15 years ago. It takes that long to get reimbursed, which is crazy. But still, they reimbursed us, so. But
And-
yeah, we still gotta ask.
Yeah, and we have to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't ask, you don't get. So we do have to ask. So I didn't know if there was any update on that. So I'm sure we'll get some kind of federal funding, but to help. So thank you, and thank you for coming tonight and briefing
you.
all of us.
Good to see you.
Any other questions for City Council Chair?
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much for coming and joining us in person.
I
We
have a-
appreciate that.
Thank you. I have a zoning committee meeting tomorrow morning and then the executive management committee meeting at 1 o'clock, which I'll be chairing, dealing with lessons that we can learn from the storm. So I'm gonna take off, but I'm gonna sign on from my phone. So I will be here if anything else comes up and I'll be listening in.
I just got one really quick, one. I just remembered. That property across from the post office, they want to build 81 units or something. We probably need help from the legislature. The parking, it's going to really screw up that area. They don't have any parking already. So I just wanted to bring that up. Maybe there is another location they can do it out here. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you, Herb. My understanding is that's Department of Hawaiian Homes is doing that, yeah. Yeah, but still, that doesn't negate the fact that it's gonna be a problem. Next time I see Cullen Watson, I'll bring it up and I'll talk to him and ask him about that, the director.
They might have to consider fewer units and include parking
Yeah,
for the residents.
that'd be a good compromise.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
Chair.
coming. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Yes, Greg?
Yeah, I did talk to Kali Watson, and he said he was aware of all that and that it would be probably less than 80 units and that parking was a main consideration and all the community concerns. So we'll have to see. But he didn't say that they're backing off from it.
All right, we're going to be moving on to hear from the governor's representative, Cameron Black.
Thank you, Chair, board members, members of the community. Cameron Black on behalf of Governor Green's office. A lot of discussion tonight. I've been taking a lot of notes. Something that I can follow up with directly is the reimbursements. What is the status, at least, of the asks, or what's the process and where are we at in that process? So I'll at least trying to get some clarity on that. And it sounds like there's a lot of other issues and activities that are going to be coming our way as the state that were raised here tonight, either through the board's new ad hoc committee or as we talk, or as I get follow-ups after tonight's meeting. So some older issues, I guess we can start with the DHHL lot, Herb. As of the 4th, they had not acquired the site. They were still conducting due diligence. March 4th, I haven't got an update since then, but they still are in the process of conducting their due diligence. And it sounds like, this is part of it. The parking will be part of their consideration. So that's the only update I have from DHHL on that particular parcel tonight. The second item, the Portlock siren, Rep Gideon, staff, Ben, myself, and Paige went and listened to the siren the beginning of this month at Luma High Street. It sounded quite loudly. We were pretty satisfied with that test. Lisa also heard it at Cocoa Head. Tomorrow is the testing day, so we'll be back up. At least I will be in a different spot to keep bird dogging this thing to make sure that siren is loud and clear. So we'll have another report next month, and hopefully others can share their reactions and their observations with that. The other issue raised at the last meeting was the potential for coconut rhinoceros beetle in Camilo Nui Valley, specifically Camilo Nui Place. So we did reach out to the Department of Ag and Biosecurity, and they did get back to me on Friday. The mulch pile is a concern that's out there, and they recommended that pile be spread to at least 2 inches, at maximum 2 inches at thickness. They also thought that some of the V-cuts in the palm fronds looked a little suspicious. So thank you to the board members, Elizabeth, for raising that. They're going to get back to me on enforcement. We were hoping for an answer before tonight, but I'm going to have to get back to you on a more specific follow-up activity as far as enforcement of that particular property. It sounds like they are undergoing a rulemaking process at the plant quarantine branch at the Department of Ag and Biosecurity, but I'll try and get, again, a follow-up activity with that specific report. The last thing that I have here tonight, pending questions from the governor's newsletter. This is kind of an opportunity for the community, specifically those that have pre-K kids. The department, the Executive Office of Early Learning is opening up applications for free public pre-kindergarten program. So for those of you out there, constituents that are looking at the costs of sending your kids 3 to 4 years old to a pre-kindergarten program, check out the Executive Office of Early Learning's website. There is a program you can apply to if the school in your area is on their list. That is a program that's available. And with that, pending questions, that's the end of my report tonight.
Questions, Elijah?
Thank you, Mr. Black. I did have a concern kind of related to the DHHL lot across of the post office, not just for parking, street parking, but also for traffic flow. There was concern that cars trying to turn into that lot or might obstruct traffic, and that already kind of being a busy roadway, and that there would be additional concerns, not just over street space, but over just being able to access not just the ridge, but also the homes beyond that lot.
I will certainly pass that along. We did extend the invitation for them to be here, and it sounds like when they are ready and they feel like that process has reached a certain stage, they will seek, they will be here. It sounds like, I'm not speaking for the department, but it sounds like they know it'd be a good idea for them to come here and talk to you folks.
Herb?
Hi, good evening. Mine is kind of a weird question. What is going on with FEMA, who's not working? They're not there, and the government shutdown. I know he's asking for money, so I was just wondering, how does that work?
I'll have to get back to you on that as part of the federal reimbursement process. It's my understanding that there are folks from FEMA here, or at least monitoring or part of the response effort. So I'm gonna need to get back to you on that one, Herb. That'll be part of that, again, that federal reimbursement process and status.
All right, any other questions, comments for the governor's representative? Yes, Sam?
I just had a question about the Molokai radar that was down. Is that, apologize, but is that state controlled? Is that NOAA controlled? Because that was a big lapse in our ability to respond properly or be able to provide warnings. And if we do, we're supposed to have an active summer with the warm Pacific. We got to get that thing up and going again.
Yeah, El Nino possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a National Weather Service facility, I believe, because it's been brought up in a lot of the emergency response calls that have been occurring daily for the last few weeks. So let me get back to you on the status. And for a lot of these things, I'm going to try to get an answer to you, Chair, in advance of the next meeting, hopefully within the next few weeks.
Sounds like it was a victim of Doge.
I definitely cannot speculate when I'm up here with the microphone in my face, as tempting as it is for me to speculate on things. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. But it did come up.
All right, thank you very much, Cameron, for joining us tonight and for your report.
Thanks for all your work. And I got to say that sophomore that was up here earlier was quite impressive. So I'm optimistic for the future here.
Great. Senator Stanley Chang's office, Casey Shoji, joining us online. Go ahead, Casey.
Hello. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so Casey Shoji from Senator Stanley Chang's office. And thank you for your comments. Been watching, listening, forwarding it to Senator Chang. And I'll put our monthly newsletter in the chat. Also, you can look up the bills that are currently circulating in the session right now. Also, put a link there too. And if there's any comments or concerns that you would like to make, I can forward it to Senator Chang.
Casey, was that Senate Bill 2423 coming from Senator Chang's office?
I looked that up. He was a sponsor to it. For me, sorry, let me just look it up real fast again, so I'm not. Yes. In regards to that bill, I think what I can do is I can forward your concerns to Senator Chang, and maybe he can produce some type of statement for the board.
I think that would be appreciated, but would you also let him know that I don't believe members of the board and many members of this community would support subdividing a normal size residential lot to 2,500 square feet. That really is very small. And then, of course, the other comment came up, since there was a law that was already passed to allow 2 ADUs on a residential lot, would that then multiply the number of ADUs to each of those subdivided homes? I think that would certainly be an issue and a big problem. All right, we have a couple hands up, Elizabeth and then Paula. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Casey, perhaps Senator can consider coming before the board or holding a meeting with Councilman Waters about housing as it relates to this district. And I ask for that because this is the second time. I'm very disappointed. I've had great working relations with Senator Chang over the years, even back when he was a councilman. But this is the second time something comes up that he's co-authoring that literally dismantles the livability of our community or the different neighborhoods within our district, his district. And it's just really unfair for him to come up with such proposals without any consultation with Kuli'o'o, Ainahaina, Niu Valley, Kahala, as well as Manalua, Hawaii Kai. So I would ask that you Casey, please ask him to consider holding a meeting with Councilman and Representative Gideon to a town hall about talking about housing. Because it's unfair for this stuff just to get sprung upon us and then to find out that it's him. It's disheartening. Thank you.
No, thank you for your concerns, and I will forward that to the senator. Thank you.
Hi, Casey. This is Paula Bender. One of the things that I find troubling about the bill is how it gives no sense of checks and balances, ties the hands of anybody in authority. Like, why would you want to have something that cannot be overseen by the state, by the counties? It just seems like it could just go wild. And who knows what's going to be built without anybody's okay or permission. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions for Senator Chang's representative? Elizabeth, you have your hand up again.
I do, and I want to say in all fairness to Senator, the governor does have that executive order out that, in my opinion, started snowballing all of this. And that's that executive order that said, you know, the housing is in such a crisis situation. And things can happen without the proper process. And I didn't think to mention this when Cameron was up there, but at some point it would be nice for that to go away, because then these areas of where Senator Chang feels compelled to find, you know, housing opportunities, doing things like this wouldn't be happening. So it starts at the top. And in all fairness, I had to mention that ideally the governor should take away that executive order that he put forth that set all of this in motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Stacy, thank you Casey, excuse me. Thank you very
Okay.
much for joining us tonight.
You're
And please give the senator our regards and ask him to join us some evening.
Yes,
Thank you.
we'll do. And again, thank you for your comments and concerns.
All right. And Cameron, you did hear Elizabeth's comment about that, the governor's executive order on the housing. That would help. All right. Senator Chris Lee. No representative present. Representative Joe Gideon.
Aloha, Chair and members of the Neighborhood Board. Great to see you all. First, I'd like to start off by applauding the efforts of our schools and residents who've done food drives, supply drives for the relief efforts to help with our neighbors over on the west side on the North Shore. It's been really inspiring to see the communities coming together, help each other out. From my office, we were able to connect community organizers with heavy machinery rental companies who donated the use of generators and trucks. We were also able to connect them with petroleum providers, Par Hawaiʻi, Texaco, to donate fuel for the generators. So it was great to see businesses come around and rally as well. Quick comment with DHHL. So I've sent video of the street where the parking would be. I actually live just off that street. I park on that street, so I know there is no parking. But I do see Kali Watson at the Capitol regularly. We talk about it. And like I said, I've shared video with him. So I really hope he takes that into consideration. Chair Waters actually mentioned a bill earlier, HB 1919, that would have prohibited counties from imposing minimal parking mandates for certain developments and limit the minimum parking requirements that might be imposed for other developments. Got to give Rep. Hashem credit where credit's due. He was able to help kill that bill. It's the first time I've ever seen a bill die on the floor. Usually they die in committee, but got to give him props for that. Also, the update on Sandy Beach. Chair Waters gave a great report on that. I want to thank him for his action and coordinating with HPD. Like you mentioned, there were citations given. I also got to give a big thank you to Sandy Beach Surf Report, their social media profile. Tyler, the person who runs it, works down at Costco. I see him regularly. When things come up, he shoots me a text. Oftentimes, social media gets the news before the news gets it. So I'm really thankful for the partnership with them and Stolen Stuff Hawaii. They're my eyes and ears out there in the ether. When I connected with HPD, not just about what happened on the lawn, but also some of the problems I've been getting calls on, people partying late at night at the Sandy Beach parking lot, or people sleeping, in their cars over at Vavamalu. I spoke with one of the officers, and he gave me some really good feedback. I mean, they are, at any given time, there's 3 of them that work our area, and so they are shorthanded. But the idea he proposed, not officially from HPD, just from him as an individual, was that a possible joint task force with DLNR, maybe they could help patrol Sandy Beach for a couple of months to break the cycle of bad actors. Because once they get the idea in their head, like, okay, this area is being patrolled, hopefully that'll break the cycle of them showing up. But that was some feedback I got from one of the officers who works this beat. Last week, we had our most recent Talk Story event. Thank you to the members who showed up. It was a great talk story. The topic was homelessness, one that I get calls on all the time. So this is one I've been really looking forward to. We had Jun Yang, the state homelessness coordinator, Kelly Kane Grace from River of Life Mission, Castro from IHS, he's their outreach coordinator, and Officer Matsumoto from HPD, he heads up their CIT unit. I'm so grateful that I've got their contact information now. Castro, especially, he's got a team of 3 with IHS. And between Punahou and Sandy Beach, 3 of them, they go out and they talk to homeless people on the street, especially if they've been identified as regulars, chronic in the area. So I expressed to him I'd like to go out with him sometime to meet some of the homeless people, the ones hanging out at Joe Lucella Park especially, and to help try and get them connected with the services that they need so they don't have to stay in that situation. Officer Matsumoto also shared with me about the CIT units, the crisis intervention team. The program is specialized, they're trained to respond to people who are having an episode maybe under the influence. So there's a lot that needs to be done. Obviously, homelessness isn't going away anytime soon, but there are a lot of resources available. My goal in this area is to help connect the people in need of those resources with those resources. So I'll give you further updates on that as we go. Quick update on the Bay. Doug Fraser from American Marine, he was hoping to be here tonight. He's on Maui. That's why he didn't ask to be on the schedule. But I do have an update from Taylor Castor with he's a coastal engineer with Integral Consulting. They are working with DLNR and American Marine. I'll just go ahead and read his report. We, Integral, we're DLNR's engineering consultant for the Mauna Loa Boat Ramp Maintenance Dredging and Facility Improvement Project. The community has expressed interest in planting new vegetation at various locations in the facility now that the project has been completed. We're interested in providing recommendations on plant species and locations for the purpose of adding resilience to the newly constructed improvements, particularly Keiki Beach. Our coastal engineering team at Integral Consulting, including myself, Rob Walker, Andrew I can't pronounce the last name, sorry, and others, have provided consultation and design services throughout the Hawaiian Islands and wider Pacific. In addition, the site-specific expertise we possess as a result of designing the dredging and facility improvements project, we specialize in nature-based shoreline resilience strategies like the strategic installation of vegetation. We would like to provide an initial conceptual site layout and species list to start the conversation, as well as provide our ongoing expertise in this matter to the extent feasible. So from what I understood, they're looking for vegetation to help keep the dredge material that was repurposed, keep it in place. But they are looking forward to connecting and working with the neighborhood board on this project. Going forward as well, like I mentioned in my last report, there are a number of organizations that are looking to volunteer to help with the maintenance program of helping to trim or clear out trash. But we just need to get these first steps in order. Next, my pre-session survey, we did our pre-session survey a few months ago. The answers, the results of that survey is on my website, repgideon.com. We have now up our mid-session survey. Could I hand this to you? I printed out one-pagers for everybody to see some of the questions on our mid-session survey. This is going to be included in the April newsletter, which will be coming out in a couple of weeks. But the survey is on my website now as well. I take community input very seriously, especially when it comes to voting. So I really appreciate all the feedback we get and when people take our surveys. Your answers help guide my votes in the Capitol. So please continue sending that feedback. A couple of legislative updates. There was mention about HB 2021. It's the e-bike safety bill. I am a co-introducer on that. This bill is responding to something that we're all seeing: more e-bikes and high-speed devices on our roads and sidewalks. How many times have you been driving Hawaiʻi Drive or up Hawaiʻi Valley and see kids on e-bikes doing wheelies or standing up? It's not safe, to say the least. This bill sets clearer rules around safe riding behavior, like no stunts or reckless operation. It also draws a line on where certain e-bikes can and can't be used, especially on bike paths and sidewalks. For families, one big piece is that schools will restrict these devices on campus, and bikes will need to be registered. Overall, it's about balancing convenience with safety, especially in busy neighborhood areas. This measure is already passed the House, and it's working its way through the Senate with a lot of support on both sides. It's passed its first Senate hearing in the Transportation Committee, and it's set to be heard by the Senate Committee on Judiciary tomorrow, and we're expecting it to pass. A couple of resolutions that I've introduced. First one is HR 142. This was actually a bill that late Rep. Ward had introduced back in 2025, carried over. It wasn't heard, but it is sorely needed. I'll share with you what the details. This measure, it's really about making sure we actually know which existing shelters we have that are safe in a hurricane, not just where they are, but whether they can withstand strong winds. It asks the state to evaluate every shelter and share that information publicly so residents aren't guessing during an emergency. Again, this is HR 142. For us locally, that means upgrades to nearby schools or community centers if they don't meet standards. Bottom line, it's about being prepared before the storm hits so that when that day comes, our community has clear, reliable options for refuge when we need them. This resolution has passed the House Committee on Public Safety, and it's going to be heard by the Finance Committee coming soon. Hopeful for that one. This next resolution was a request by a number of community members who reached out to me. It actually has to do with pickleball courts at Kamilowiki. This one responds directly. Oh, sorry. Right now at Kamilowiki, people bring their own nets. They're there every Sunday. You know, a lot of kupuna are there. He's asking the Parks and Rec to install permanent nets and lighting so that the courts are able to be used even into the evening hours. For our neighborhood, this means more accessible recreation, especially for kupuna and working families who can only play after hours. This one has support. It has yet to get a hearing, but I'll keep you updated on that one. In closing, oh, sorry. Okay, next one we have HCR. This one was actually inspired by a third grader from Hahione Elementary School. Started out at a Capitol tour that we had. The student asked if we could, just simple plant trees. But I connected with his dad, and the conversation just kind of grew into urging DLNR to help identify places on East Oahu where we can plant more native Hawaiian trees. The fact that it came from a third grader, sometimes good ideas can come from the smallest places. That is the extent of my updates. Were there any questions on anything? Yes.
Go ahead, Paula.
Hi, Rep. Gideon. Thank you so much. And regarding your e-bike legislation, I'm part of the Hawaii Bicycling League.
Awesome.
I teach the fourth graders bike ed. What I wanted to know was, is Travis Council aligned with what you're putting through? I know that sometimes he's not in agreement with what's going on, and I was wondering if you two had found some common ground.
You know, I can check with him. I'm a co-introducer. The Representative Keela from Nanakuli is the one who drafted the bill, but I will check the testimony to see if he, somebody from the Hawaii Bicycling League did stop by my office though a couple of weeks back, and don't quote me on this, but if my memory serves me right, they were in favor. I think they had been, had given some information to help draft it. I'll double check though. Anybody else?
Okay, thank you very much for your report. Oh, I also wanted to mention that I did receive the invitation for the neighborhood board to attend the Capitol visitation. And I've sent an email to board members to ask if they're available for the April 10th date, but it's a Friday. But I wanted to know what the time frame
Sure. So
was.
we have session every day, Monday through Friday at noon. Our caucus meets around 11:30. So if we met maybe around 10:30, 10:45, we could do a quick Capitol tour, maybe visit the governor's ceremony room, get some pictures up there, and then you can join us for a session and we'll recognize you from the floor.
Okay. So I sent everyone an email. If you would like to attend on April 10th, please let me know so we can, we'll turn in our numbers. Thank you.
Awesome. It'd be a privilege to recognize you all from the floor for all the hard work that you do. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Mark Hasham's office, Jane Taylor. Hi, Jane.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Chair and Vice Chair and board members. Jane Taylor on behalf of Representative Mark Hasham, District 19. I've been listening in on all your community issues so I can report back to Rep with your concerns. We have been working on many issues with constituents calling the office, as you can imagine, from some storm damage. And we do work with a lot of stream maintenance, where I will then get in touch with our friends at City and County to help expedite getting some work orders through and getting some people up to look at what's going on with the streams. As we know, rocks fall in there. They're old. They're kind of falling apart. So we are working on quite a few of those. As mentioned, the Senate bills have really now passed out of the House. We heard about probably 45 Senate bills, and now we've moved on to resolutions. And we heard about 14 of those today, and we'll hear some more next week. Yeah, just lots of different issues. I wanted to mention a couple of things. There is going to be a spring book sale at the Ainahaina Library. You may have received a note about this from Rep. Hasham. It will be happening Wednesday, April 8th through Saturday, April 11th during regular library hours. A really good way to support the Friends of the Ainahaina Library that, as we all knew, do a wonderful job at the library. Payment by cash or check only. And then in regards to fire ants, Rep is going to or has already dropped off some of the treatment kits at the library. And if you need to get one so that you can test for the little fire ants in your area, please feel free to do that. Or we also put out a newsletter about how to get the kit if you need it. And I'm here if anyone has any questions for me, which I can relay back to Rep. And thank you for letting me join you guys tonight.
Thank you, Jane. Any questions for Mark Hasham's representative? No questions, Jane. Thank you for joining us and staying late. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any representative from our congressional offices? All right, I see none. So we're going to be moving on to board business. We have three of our regular items on our agenda. One is the EV Coast Scenic Byway, and we heard a lot about the Sandy Beach vandalism and what's going to have to happen to restore that area. Anything else anyone wants to add? All right. Any updates on the Camilo Nui Valley agriculture and farms? I understand there was quite a lot of water that ran through that property during the Kona lows. Elizabeth, go ahead.
I videotaped it all and I shared it with the landowner. The nursery that I volunteer at was divided in half, and I can't even begin to tell you the amount of damage that had occurred. But the valley was closed off for a series of days. And anyway, what I do want to share is that, Kamehameha Schools, the landowner, does work with Mariners Cove and Camilla Nui farmers on upholding our FireWise designation underneath Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization. This is since 2018. And so we're, with their support, we're going to be doing Firewise work at the end of April at the back of the valley. We're actually expanding the existing fire break that we have. They've given us access to additional acreage, which we're really happy about. And just mentioning it, I'll send out an email if anyone's interested. I've got Team Rubicon coming out to do some great work with us. It's a lot of hard, heavy lifting work and clearing land and creating fire breaks, but it's very rewarding. In fact, Senator Chang came out the first year that we did it and helped us. So I'll make sure I send him an invitation to come out. This is at the very end of April. And I just wanted to share that. It's as it relates to Camilla Nui Valley, and we'll be doing some FireWise prevention work. And I'll send an email around. Thank you. There's no other news to share at this time.
Thanks, Elizabeth, for those updates. And on the Cocoa Crater Stables, I think that we discussed this item during the mayor's representative's report, so we won't belabor that. Moving on to board committees. Any reports from our board committees?
Yes?
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
No, I'll go ahead with my co-chair and allow her to start, and I'll fill in wherever she wants me to.
All right, Johanna?
So the Hawaii Neighborhood Board Committee on Planning, Zoning, and Environment had a very successful discourse with G70's representative, project head. It was standing room. I told people to get there early at the Hawaii Library. There was about 70 or so people that attended. There was a very extensive presentation provided to the community. A majority of the time was spent with community members asking questions, and several of our fellow board members were present, which was great. There is discussion, which I'll have Elizabeth give an update on in terms of steps moving forward. Right now, we are just in the process of getting some information regarding the project, getting our questions out there. getting some answers. But I will turn it over to Elizabeth.
And I'd like to ask, if any of the board members that were in attendance want to add anything afterwards, please do. We will share a short overview written report, and so that I can be filed appropriately. But as Johanna has expressed, there was good information exchange. I'd have to say the majority of the people that were there were obviously not in favor of the project as it was laid out. What I'm pleased to share is that because there were so many questions and because G70 had learned some new things, there was the offer for them to come back to another planning, zoning, and environment meeting and keep it at this committee level to continue that conversation on a more intimate level with the community. And so everybody was in agreement, and we're anticipating whether it's June or July to be able to hold another meeting at the Hawaii Kai Library. Since we've received word from G70 asking us some questions for clarification on information that was exchanged, and we're doing that at this time right now. Can't think of anything else, but of course, any other board member that was here present, please share any of your comments.
Anybody want to share? Yes, Greg?
I just wanted to say there was a lengthy handout that those who attended were able to pick up. I have 4 copies only that were just the leftovers. So any board member who wasn't there and didn't get one of these, I'll just sort of leave them here. But, it's worth restating that we have been involved with this for more than 20 years and opposing it strongly for more than 20 years. So it just seems like enough's enough, and don't quite understand why they're still pursuing it. But anyway, copies for anyone who needs it.
All right, anybody else have any comments to share? Okay, while we're on board committees, I think it's a good time to revisit asking for volunteers for some of these committees. Now, Herb, you're still on Parks and Recreation, right? And still willing to continue to do that. We do not have any identified board members on transportation or on education. Paula, you had indicated an interest in working on transportation. And I think there were a couple others that were interested. Was it Elijah and no? Johanna or? Are there volunteers that would like to serve on either the Transportation Committee or the Education Committee? Yes, Johanna? All right, so Elijah and Johanna also want to do transportation. So great, we've got 3 people that are interested in transportation. Elijah, Johanna said that you were interested. So. Oh, okay. All right, so 3 of you on transportation. If an issue arises that you think that this neighborhood board needs to address, then certainly we can discuss whether or not we're going to establish a committee meeting or whether you want to bring it to the full board. And if, as time goes along, if anybody wants to be involved with the Education Committee, please let me know. All right, we're going to be moving on to the approval of the regular meeting minutes, and we have 2 sets of minutes to approve tonight. One is for the minutes of January 27, 2026. Are there any revisions to the January 27th meeting? Seeing none, the January 27th meeting are approved as distributed. Also, we are looking at the February 24th meeting. Are there any revisions to the February 24th minutes? All right, seeing none, the February 24th minutes are accepted as distributed. Thank you very much. Are there any other board announcements? If not, I'm going to be going into the regular closing announcements. The next regular meeting of the Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board is on Tuesday, April 28th at 7 p.m. at the Hahaiʻi Elementary School cafeteria and on WebEx. The Hawaiʻi Neighborhood Board regular meetings are cablecast on Olelo Channel 49 on the second Monday of the following month at 9 p.m. and repeating on that month's third Friday at 7 a.m. Videos can also be seen online at the OleloNet webpage or via the Honolulu Neighborhood Commission Office website. So I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, and the meeting is formally adjourned.